Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another videos of the paid request. This time for Guillermo. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both things are down below in the info box. And this is for The Cost, a 2022 film that's an Australian film that I guess you would call a revenge movie in a way. Is very much more of a slow burn. And it's one of those films that was okay. It was alright. The jump ahead, my thoughts on it wasn't too bad. I guess if you watch the trailer, you'll see whether you're intrigued with it or not. It's a good looking movie for its low budget, especially when they filmed it in the woods. Very lush photography. Doesn't look like a cheap movie at all. The acting I thought was fairly good. You have two people, Dave and Aaron. And you see one guy, Dave, who is getting some supplies ready, like camping supplies. You see Aaron, who's getting his rifle ready, and you're wondering what's going on. Then you have this other guy, Troy, who kind of gets home from work and he's petting his cat and just having a beer. So one thing leads to another, and Aaron and Dave, they grab this guy Troy, get him, kidnap him, drug him, put him in the trunk of the car. They have a few close calls. One at a gas station where they hear pounding in the trunk and they gotta drug him again. One where they get stopped by cops and they realize it's because the brake light wasn't fixed. It was broken and they're wondering whether they'll be caught or not. Until ultimately they take the guy to the woods. They tie him up. They whip the hell out of him, and you come to find out, which I mean they say this early on, but just in case spoilers, that this guy Troy had killed someone these two knew. The husband Dave, it was his wife, and Aaron, it was her brother. So one guy's wife, the other guy's sister. So I want revenge for what you did to my wife. I want revenge for what you did to my sister. So they beat the hell out of him. They whip him a bit. And throughout it, the guy's baiting and baiting. Where he mentions he was caught. I guess he was supposed to get like 40 years, but he only did 10 years and got out. And the guy mentions how he did his time. He's baiting, please don't do this. You don't want to do this. You're not going to live with yourself. I was wrong. I was sick. He mentions how I'm a new guy. He's begging for his life. At one point, they threaten to cut his big old willy out off. He said, "No, please don't do that. Don't do that. Okay." He admits he was assaulted in prison a lot, and seems like he's been telling the truth. I mean, he mentions, "Listen, I'm sorry. I wish I could take back. I won't tell anybody about any of this. I deserve this." So it's getting to the whole moral dilemma, and that's really the big quandary of this movie. Because the more this guy begs, the more he pleads, and all this stuff happens, the husband of the victim, Dave, he goes, "You know what, I can't go through with this. Let's just stop it." And the victim's brother, Aaron, goes, "No, we're not stopping this. If you're not going to end it, I'm going to end it." Because at one point they did a little bit of a grave and they put this rope around him and they both are trying to strangle him, but that's when Dave's like, "No, I can't do this." It's easier said than done. And then some things happen afterward. Now, like I said, I don't think this was a bad film. I think if you enjoy these type of movies, you'll enjoy the idea of the photography, the acting. It doesn't really do anything much new that you haven't seen before, though. For the most part, except maybe one or two things at the end, for the most part, is predictable. Like when you're watching the film, you know that nothing's going to happen with the gas station. You know the cop's not going to do anything, because if he did, then either they get caught or they would hurt, kill, shoot the cop, and then all of a sudden you have no sympathy for these two. So now you've lost sympathy with the audience, so thus the moral quandary would be severely lacking. And you know that when you have two people, one's not going to be as gun-ho as the other is. That's a typical trope. So that's what I mean. A good chunk of the movie, it feels very familiar. It feels very much like tropes you've seen many times before. And it doesn't feel like it's doing much anything new with this, or too much unique with this, other than it's in Australia. I like the location of the woods they picked. Again, the acting's fairly decent. The dialogue about, no, I can't do this, I mean, it doesn't go much deeper than your typical film that goes into these tropes. And that's why at the end of the day, I thought it was Didn't make me mad, but kind of that feeling. Just spoilers, what happens after that is Troy's baiting Dave, listen, you don't want to be like me. Aaron says, fine, I'll do it. Takes Troy. He's ready to shoot him. Turn around. Troy goes, no, I'm not going to turn around. The guy hesitates. Troy hits him. He runs off. Actually, before that, you get this whole scene. I'm jumping ahead. You get this whole scene where, when they're arguing on whether they should or shouldn't, another person comes by. So they have to drug Troy. They say hi to this guy to appease suspicions. And they're pretty much forced to hang out with the guy for like the rest of the day. And you know, they have like simple conversations by campfire. They head back. The guy tries to run off. They get him. And then that's where you get that scene I mentioned where Aaron's like, fine, I'll do it. Troy begs, pushes the gun away, runs off. Dave is chasing after him. There's a moment where Troy could kill him, but he doesn't. He throws the rock away. So that's telling the audience that this guy did change. So then it gets to the moral quandary. Can a guy change? If he does change, can you forgive him for the crimes he's committed, no matter how heinous they were? Because not only did the guy kill, he also assaulted and killed this lady. But he did spend 10 years, and he feels bad for it, and it seems like he's legitimate on that. He runs for it. He gets to that one guy's place they saw earlier. They chase after him. There's a standoff. The one guy, his name is Brian, what's going on here? This guy killed his wife, killed my sister. You know, they're the same person. His wife was my sister. This guy killed him. But yeah, I spent 10 years, I did that. Brian says this is the wrong thing to do. Even Dave says, listen, let's just stop and end it. Let's let it go. Super spoilers. Aaron looks and shoots the guy in the eye. Kills him. They ask Brian, don't say anything. Brian says yes. Now, why he didn't just fucking wait for them to leave and then say something? If he wanted to say or tell or freak out, why didn't he just wait until these two left? But I guess he was, maybe part of him was like, well, they won't let me go, all that stuff. So he makes a run for it. They chase after him. They say, stop. Listen, we're not going to hurt you. Stop. Brian trips, hits his head on a rock, and dies. And that's really what the cost of the title is about, is that, yeah, they got their revenge, but at what cost? They go home, they burn the evidence, and the one guy, Troy's body. I guess they leave the other guy there. Just if someone finds it'll just be an accident. He tripped and fell. They go back home. Aaron seems like he's fine. Dave, he kind of crumbles to the floor and kind of stares vacantly. Because, again, it's going to affect him. He didn't pull the trigger. He wanted the guy to stop, but he was still part of it to begin with. And now this innocent guy died because of it. So, that shows the quandary of revenge and how it's understandable asset and understandable mindset, but at the same time, it may inadvertently hurt, or in this case, kill someone else. So the ending, I mean, I didn't mind the way it ended. It definitely felt much more of a, in a weird way, a quiet ending. I know that sounds stupid, but much more of a quiet ending where these two kind of go home and they part ways, and then one goes back to his family, and the other, Dave, is kind of crumbling down. It's like, what to do now? And you kind of understand both's point of view. You understand Dave's point of view, like, let's let it go. You understand Aaron's point of view, that it was his sister and he can't help himself. The guy ran off. They told him, don't worry about it. And there was no hint that they were going to kill the guy. I guess the guy just assumed because of what he saw. And it's like he only met these guys like a few hours ago. It was a total accident. It's not like they purposely caused the guy's death. So it was definitely a bit of a tragedy there at the end. But I don't know, it seems like a film that maybe would work better as a short film and not so much as a full-length movie. And again, it's one of those things I watch and I go, okay, it was okay. I mean, this will be a movie I'll forget in a month. Like, what was that one movie? But it wasn't bad. But like I said, it's not really going to give you much that you haven't seen before. The quandaries, the moral dilemma quandaries is kind of, I would say, more basic level than you've seen done in a dozen other films. I guess it's more simple in the fact it doesn't go into a full-out action movie at the end like some of them do. So maybe some people view that, well, it didn't go the typical route. But yeah, as is, it's kind of like, yeah, that was a movie. Yeah, it was okay. And that's really the only feeling I get. Is like, I didn't hate it. Didn't love it. It was, I would say it's okay. It was like a 3 out of 5. Like, this is one of those, like, it's a 3 out of 5 star movie. It's okay. But again, would I ever watch this film again? Nah. But did I hate it and oh my god, slog? No, either. Just, you know, it's there. Again, there's just plenty of other films out there about revenge, either more intriguing or more creative or more interesting, or they mess with doesn't even just have to be revenge, but films like Cold in July that bring a little bit more to it. Even, it's not the same, well, it's not the same, but Brick. It's about a guy looking into the death of this girl, but the guy is a kid in high school and trying to figure out what's going on. So it's not the same thing as this, but just the aesthetics and where it takes place and making it more of a mystery. Like, something that would make it seem more distinct and separated from the pack of these type of movies. And I don't think this does enough of that to really make it stand out. So it's one of those that, like, if you watch the trailer and you like what you saw, You probably will not mind the movie. Take that for what you will. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.